when we go into a company and start discussing these types of approaches, one of the important elements, and this is on your planning documentation for you to think about, is the maturity of the people you've currently got. And, you know, when we're trying to talk to a customer and build say a program to help the service desk people or the power users or a champions program, you know, it's always about, well, who have you already got? What skills have they already been through? What have they been learning so far? What experience do people have with certain elements? And, you know, are you fully versed on, say, the Power Platform to replace your old legacy workflows and business processes? You know, it's just simple questions like that around the different tooling to understand what your current maturity model is for skills and understanding in the different groups of users that are going to be involved in the whole project going forward. And it's interesting how when I talk to people, they'll say, oh yeah, our IT are fully versed. Great. What about your legal people? Well, what do you mean? Well, document management and records management fundamentally changes in 365 because Microsoft have really ramped up the tools. It can do this, 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 and this now, which previously was a third-party product needed, but it can do all of this. And the IT would just go, well, we don't know anything about that. It's not our role. Sure. Do your legal people know it's possible? And it turns out they had no idea. Well, then you need to start talking with the people involved in the collaboration, the process of documentation being created, stored, and now you're looking at metadata and classification, and the storyline suddenly changes to, oh my gosh, we've just realized we are using documentation processes, something developed 10 years ago, and 50% of it or more is not relevant in a 365 world because all of these new methods are there. And so there's a whole skills and a understanding needed of how to change the way those groups of people are going to use data. Now, it's quite right that the IT wouldn't know, because why should they know that? They're not the legal department for a company. But at the same time, the business needs to understand that, therefore, IT cannot control that design decision. It needs to go to the people that are going to use it. So break down your groups of people, your ways of working into maturity, and make sure those different elements of people have that knowledge needed to make those decisions and plan the design and the structure, so that when it does go live, it's all part and parcel of the design. And another example of that would be when to use what. One of the biggest questions we see always asked constantly with all these tools is that the minute they realize what they can use, they're then not sure when they should use it. So when should I use SharePoint over Teams? When should I use OneDrive over SharePoint? This causes quite a bit of confusion when that discussion isn't had about the ways of working and the methodology of working. And it's actually quite easily solved once you've gone through this plan. But sometimes I've gone into a company meeting where they've gone through the design, and I've kind of gone, that's not really the way it's meant to work, and this is the way it should work. And they've gone, we don't really like that. And I'm like, well, you might not like it, but that's the way it's designed to work. And yes, it means it's going to be a bit of a shift for you guys, but you've got to go through it to make the most of the platform. And what they were trying to do is obviously recreate, say, their file share methodology in SharePoint and then align it to Teams. And that just doesn't work. You've got to change it to the way the new platforms are designed to work.